Good morning, everyone. Pete here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to kind of an impromptu edition of Ranking the Albums. You know, it's Sunday. I didn't really have anything planned for you guys this weekend. Kind of taking a little time away from the channel. Got some stuff going on here at the house, you know, people visiting, all that sort of thing. But I don't know, yesterday I was sitting there thinking about how many requests we've gotten over the last couple of months to do a Ranking the Album show of Ratt. So many people interested in Ratt. Pete, when are you going to do Ratt? Pete, you did Dokken, you did Europe. When are you going to do Ratt? Pete, we love Ratt. What about Ratt? Ratt. And I've always said, well, you know what? I'm not actually the biggest fan. I don't hate Ratt by any means. I don't own anything by him anymore other than like a pretty cool compilation, which has most of the songs I really like. But back in the day, I had all of the LPs up until like a certain point. I think I stopped buying their stuff like around, I don't know, 93 or something like that. And I know the albums pretty well. So I was thinking about it yesterday. I'm like, you know what? Shit, why don't I just do a show on Ratt and rank the albums? Not a big catalog. So I went to take a look, make sure I wasn't missing anything here. And yeah, I'm pretty familiar with all the albums. I decided, since there's only like 7 full lengths, I decided to throw the 1983 EP in there as well and put that as all part of the list. Because, I mean, that EP had like 7 songs anyway. It's not like it was that short. So I'm going to rank them in the order of my least favorite to my favorite. I will say 3/4 of this catalog is actually pretty solid. Like I said, they're not really, I don't dislike Ratt by any means. I love the playing. You know, DeMartini is a terrific guitar player. Robin Crosby was good as well, the late Robin Crosby. The rhythm section always pretty tight. I just never really liked Stephen Pearcy's vocals much. He was definitely has an original style, just never really did it for me. And I think that he's only gotten weaker as time has gone on. But still a pretty good band, pretty big band back in the day. So with some good albums, right? So let's kickstart here this whole Ranking the Album show with number 8. Going to go to their 1999 self-titled album called Ratt, or it's either called 1999 or Ratt, depending on how you want to call it. It's one of their more recent, 2 albums ago, actually, because they have not been very prolific in the last 20 years. You know what? This, for me, is by far the weakest Ratt album out there. It's very uninspired. It just sounds to me like the band kind of not sure what direction to go. They've been kind of away from it at the time. This was their first album in like 9 years. Not really sure what to do, where to go. The music landscape has changed a lot in 1999. You got the whole glam metal, hair metal thing pretty much done. You got new metal is all the rage in 99. Ratt's kind of like, how do we fit here? And they churned out this album of kind of like a lot of bland, bluesy, hard rock. Pearcy's vocals, not really that well suited to that style of music. Dead Reckoning, pretty good. One of the heaviest songs on the album, I think. That's not a bad track. But, throughout the whole album, there's that lack of those memorable hooks that Ratt always had in a lot of their songs. Most of this album is just not really memorable. Again, this kind of like bluesy fare. Yeah, you got some good licks and solos from DeMartini, but the songs just are not memorable at all. And to me, it's just a really weak album that just does not work at all. So that's number 8. Coming in at number 7, going to go back to 1990 for the Detonator album. So here, that whole hair metal era kind of coming to an end. All right, you got another year away as grunge and alternative rock. Ratt's album sales starting to slip a little bit from their first couple, which were big, massive sellers. Each album was selling less and less, although the record label's trying to kind of help jumpstart the band's career here. Beau Hill, their longtime producer, out. They bring in Desmond Child as co-producer, helps write a lot of the songs on the album. The album as a whole is pretty catchy. Okay, got Shame, 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 which is one of the singles off the album, and a video. Catchy rocker, really good Warren DeMartini solos on that. You got, what else on here? Loving You Is a Dirty Job. Good song, all right. Scratch That Itch, I like quite a bit. The whole album has a mix of kind of like that glam rock, late 80s, early 90s glam rock with some of the bluesier stuff. There's some slide guitars and some little almost like southern rock things popping into their music here, which we would hear a lot on the subsequent release many, many years later. Giving Yourself Away is the ballad on the album. They released that as a single. That's pretty forgettable and pretty terrible. It's just that, for my money, Ratt is one of those bands that should not have to do those type of songs. And that song really shows kind of the limitations of Stephen Pearcy's vocals. He's not the ballady singer type of guy, in my opinion. This will also be the last album that Juan Croucier and Warren Crosby would appear on. In Robin's case, last album ever, Juan would pop back into the band again. But so big kind of change in the lineup after this particular album. So that's Detonator 1990. Number 6, let's go to 2010, the most recent thing they put out. It's been 10 years already. Infestation. Pretty good album, actually. All right, so here you've got Carlos Cavazo, ex-guitar shredder from Quiet Riot, joining the band alongside Warren DeMartini. Pretty heavy record. I think one of their heavier albums. It seems like the band's trying to kind of go back in time in their time machine to kind of capture some of the fire and the hunger from like the mid-'80s, and I think they do a pretty good job of that. It works to an extent. I think the only really thing missing from this album is that some of the songs are kind of lacking that big hook. There's a good amount of tunes on the album. Some of them are really good, pretty heavy, rocking, great guitar work. Some are just kind of just missing a little something, just missing that extra, melodic hook that this band has always been so good at doing. But a lot of really strong tracks. Best of Me, Eat Me Up, Look Out Below. It's got some screaming guitar work from Warren DeMartini. Last Call, Lost Weekend, Garden of Eden, really heavy. Some good songs on here. Pretty good album. I think that could even inch its way up a little closer on this list above the next two. But I think the only reason it doesn't is because the next two on my list have some really, really memorable stuff on it. Although I think Infestation is actually a heavier album and altogether just a little more of a metal album, right? So number 5 is going to be Dancing Undercover from 1986. Good album. This is where the band's sails starting to slip a little bit, but some good songs on here. Slip, Slip, Slip of the Lip. Great song. Okay, great groove to it. I think they were turning into that kind of like really kind of groove laden kind of metal band, right? If you can even call them metal, hard rock metal, and they were really kind of going for the charts on some of this stuff. Dance was the first single on the album. Another really, really catchy tune. I absolutely love Body Talk. I think Body Talk is a great song. Take a Chance, another really strong track. The rest of the album is okay. So like I said, for, you catch me on another day, I might actually inch Infestation above this album a little bit. But I think there's a couple tracks, like I just mentioned, that are really, really strong. And I don't think there's anything that strong and hook-laden on Infestation. That's the only reason that I don't rank that album a little higher. Same thing for my number 4 album here, Reach for the Sky from 1988. So this is the last album they worked on with Beau Hill. Beau Hill produced all of their early albums, and every one of those albums had like a signature sound, thanks to his production. Some good tracks on here. Way Cool Jr. is a big hit, fun, tons of groove. All right, not very metal, but it's still a fun song. City to City is a terrific rocker. Don't Bite the Hand That Feeds You, excellent. I Want a Woman, another catchy tune. Chain Reaction's a hard driving rocker. Bottom Line, another really strong track. So Reach for the Sky from 1988. Again, Dancing Undercover, Reach for the Sky, Selling Less, then Out of the Cellar, and Invasion of Your Privacy. So you're starting to see that kind of like, they had their big moment in the sun, and while they're still selling, still got MTV videos playing, still have songs you might hear on the radio, it's like, I think like Ratt's big moment, superstardom, kind of starting to wane a little bit. Number 3, I'm going to go with the EP from 1983. All right. It's raw. It's got a couple tunes that would appear on the next album, although in earlier, more atmospheric versions. You got Back for More and You're in Trouble. Kind of cool to hear an early version of those and then hear what was on the actual debut. They're a little bit different, right? Sweet Cheater and You Think You're Tough are terrific, heavy songs. I think what's interesting about the EP is it sounds so raw, and then you got the well-produced debut album from Beau Hill, and it's kind of cool to hear. I mean, some of these tracks are pretty heavy on the first on that EP. They do a terrific cover of Walking the Dog. Just a fun EP, pretty heavy, and I think it kind of set the stage for what was to come. Number 2, I'm going to go with 1985's Invasion of Your Privacy. I was pretty into this album when it came out. I listened to this quite a bit. The production by Beau Hill is terrific on this. You're in Love, quite catchy, tasty riffs and solos from Warren and Robin. Okay, Lay It Down might be my favorite Ratt song of all time. I love the riff. The hooks are dynamic. It's just really catchy. Just a fun song. And I don't know. For me, when I think of Ratt, that's always like kind of at the top of the list for me. Great song. Lay It Down. Give It All. What you give is what you get. Dangerous but worth the risk. Dangerous but worth the risk. That's the type of song that I like Stephen Pearcy singing. And again, I'm not a big fan of his vocal style, but those first couple of albums, he's just got this weird tone to his voice that doesn't sound like anybody else. It's when he tries to be a little more musical that he doesn't work, in my opinion. Overall, Invasion of Your Privacy, a very strong album. It's not as immediate as the first album. I think like overall, there's a couple of songs on the album that are a little bit more plotting and just kind of don't go anywhere. There's some standout tracks that are really strong, but I think like that first album has like boom, one great song after another. I think on Invasion of Your Privacy, there's not as many of those, and there's a couple that are kind of throwaway songs. Still a really strong album, I think, but it's just the first album is where all the magic happened, start to finish. Second album, not quite. Still really good, though. And, of course, number one is going to be Out of the Cellar from 1984. A very strong debut album from a hungry band at the time. Again, the Bow Hill production is really stellar here, crisp and crunchy throughout. The guitars are so well produced. The vocals just sound right. The rhythms are just top notch. You got the big hit Round and Round. Great song. Blazing guitar work, I think that's the reason why a lot of people really kind of gravitated towards this band, because not only were they cranking out songs that, were hits, were catchy and memorable, but the guitar players loved these guys because you had some just, shredding guitar solo work and just really inventive riffing throughout. Okay, they kind of, Ratt kind of took the Van Halen and the Dokken thing, the Eddie Van Halen and George Lynch thing, and just kind of worked off of that. Got the underrated gem of the album, In Your Direction. I always really like that song a lot. Lack of Communication is really good hard rocker. Back for More, obviously. And what's interesting is to hear the Back for More on this album compared to the EP. I think the final version on the debut here, really well thought out. I like the acoustic guitar intro. It's just a really good, well-paced song. The Morning After's got some really good heavy metal riffing from Crosby and DeMartini, who throughout this album just turn in really stellar performances. Really great leads on the album, great riffs. It's just overall, it's just a really strong debut. So there you have it. That is my rank in the studio catalog of Ratt. Coming in number 1, Out of the Cellar. Number 2, Invasion of Your Privacy. Number 3, the EP from 1983. Number 4, Reach for the Sky from 88. Number 5, Dancing Undercover from 86. Number 6, Infestation from 2010. Number 7, Detonator from 90. And coming in last, quite frankly, really the only stinker on this in this discography is the self-titled from 1999, or the 1999 album, however you want to call it. So, but overall, despite the fact that I don't own any of this catalog, like I said, other than a greatest hits set, some good stuff on here in a lot of these albums. So, good band. I just, not a band that I reach for much at all. I listened to them a lot back in the day, but I've kind of moved on to a lot of other things. But it was kind of cool to go back and revisit a lot of these albums again, and just I have fairly fond memories of some of this stuff, right? So there you have it. Curious to see how you guys rank this catalog in the comments below. If you want to do all 7 studio albums, do that. If you want to make it 8 and include the EP, go right ahead. Do whatever you want. You want to do your top 3, or you want to just avoid it altogether, that's fine too. Just remember, guys, if you're not into, we got, when we did the Dokken video, tons of people asked for Dokken. We did the video, and then you had all these people who don't like Dokken coming on and trying to shit on the band and the fact that we did a video on it. It's like, you know what? If you don't like Ratt, don't watch the video. And don't waste your time commenting, because, coming on here saying Ratt is terrible, I hate Ratt. I mean, seriously? All you're going to do is going to get a little hate from people who do like Ratt, who see comments like that. So you know what? If you don't like Ratt, you want to wait for the next video on the prog band or a heavier metal act or a hard rock band, just wait for that one. I'm not going to make video, not everybody's going to like every single topic of every single video I do. That's just the way it is. So, but for all you Ratt fans, this one's for you. Visit us on the web at www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, of course, we're here on YouTube all the damn time. So enjoy the rest of your Sunday. We'll see you tomorrow morning bright and early with another Blu-ray DVD pick of the day, as well as Martin Popoff and I are going to rank the studio catalog of Foreigner, so you don't want to miss that. And then tomorrow night, Monday night, We've got another rant with the Hollywood Squares, Chris Allo, Ryan Scow, Nick Franco. Very cool topic. We're going to talk about concerts we've seen that we've been greatly disappointed in. Okay, so crappy concert experiences. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to call it yet, but that's the rant for tomorrow. So we're all going to talk about some shows we've been to in our lives that for whatever reason just didn't live up to the bill, whether it was the band was terrible, or whether it was a band we really didn't want to go see and we got dragged to and it was just as bad as we thought it was going to be, or maybe something happened, the surrounding circumstances of the night of the show forced you to have a terrible time. Maybe you got completely hammered at the show and something bad happened, or maybe the weather was terrible, or maybe you got into a car accident before the show, or maybe the band didn't show up, or maybe someone in the band was really wasted on stage and ruined the whole thing, or whatever, right? So there's a million reasons why a concert could be terrible. So that's coming up tomorrow night. All right, so don't miss it, and we'll see you then, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.